Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of Hashtag Keynote Speaker. Now the guest I've got for you today, I've really been hanging out to get him on. Unfortunately, we have had some tech issues. We've been battling through it. But this guy really has been worth the wait. He's been worth the fight to get him on. And I can't wait to introduce you to him right after the opener.
Influencing the thinking of billions of people every year. They are the thought leaders, educators, and extroverts. Meet the minds behind the microphones, the experts who share from the stage, encouraging us to think differently, do more, and ultimately strive to succeed. Welcome to the Hashtag Keynote Speaker Show. Here's your host, Jonathan Creek.
So here we are. We are about to introduce some celebrity to the show today. A guy all the way from the UK who's graced stages around the world for a show called Hashtag Keynote Speaker. This guy is definitely one of the best. There's those times in your life where you meet people and you radiate to them, and Geoff definitely is one of those guys. Geoff Ramm, welcome to the Hashtag Keynote Speaker Show. It's so great to have you along.
Jonathan, it's great to see you again. How are you well, my friend? Are you good?
Yes, we're good. We're good. We're good here. And we had a nice 35-degree day, 0 cases of COVID in the community. And apart from the tech issues, my heart rate was pretty low until then.
I think we are minus 35 and plus 35 on the scale of COVID. But hey, it's just numbers.
It really has been a slog. I mean, every time I go to an episode of this show, and I tell you, this is episode 1 for 2021, and you're the best guest we've had on this year. So thank you. And but I always say when I start this show, or when I plan these shows, that let's not talk about COVID today, but it really is hard not to, particularly in this industry.
Yeah, I mean it's there. It's hopefully going to get better. Vaccines are rolling out. We all know this type of stuff, but it's the industry. But we've adapted really well. I think AV companies, clients. I think the biggest thing I've seen is last year we wanted to do something. I think that's what everybody wanted to do. They wanted to do something. They wanted to try and create something and still reach out for teams, for staff, for their clients, their members. I just saw literally sort of 3 days into 2021, there was a need. I think we went from a want to a need in literally overnight. And I think that the conversations I've had with about a dozen clients in the first 2 weeks has been, we need to do this now, Geoff. It's not going away. We're predicting it's going to be X, Y, Z for the year. We need to do this now for our own sanity. So there's been a bit of a shift. We've all adapted, of course we have. Here we are. We wouldn't have done this, Jonathan, over a year ago. We wouldn't have had maybe the thought process of reaching out all over the world. But the technology's there. It's certainly improving. And do you know what?
People don't know what's just going on behind the scenes. So if you can hear a little gremlin,
you buy too many plugs, too many USB ports, and the more you have, the more chance. Anyhow. But no, I think the certainly the feedback I'm getting and the conversations I'm having with a lot of clients is, we need an uplift, Geoff, and pardon the pun, it's like we need that shot in the arm. Well, we literally, so we need the shot in the arm. We need the second dose, but we also need a shot in the arm business-wise. We could do with that uplift in spirits, those ideas that you can bring, Geoff, and to the table that we can actually do, whether from home or from an office. But we need to start moving now and need to make a difference, because our competitors around the corner are starting to move. And about a year ago, Jonathan and I created this welcome back strategy. This welcome back, theme, I suppose. What are you going to do in this time of great uncertainty and negativity? What are you going to do to come back and welcome back your clients when it is back up and running? what are you going to do to make that difference? And the difference is, of course, my topic, which is celebrity service, creating the gap in the service that you don't realize exists, but it exists within every one of us. And so there's been a bit, I think there's been a bit of a shift. It always happens when, you know, back in London, when Big Ben strikes, there's that mind shift. But I think we went from a want to a need. But who knows when all of this is going to, when you and I share a platform again somewhere around the world. But we've just got to smile and give it our all for clients. That's all we can do. It's all we can do.
For those who don't know a lot about you, Geoff, your topic is celebrity service. And I think when I first met you, it was a couple of years ago, and when that topic was put out and you told me what you spoke about and the different, it was just, for me, it was just so genius, but so there. And I think some of the best ideas in the world seem easy once you know them. And the way that you deliver it and the way that you influence people from stage in this talking, do you get some people saying, oh my God, why haven't we already been doing this? Why have we not been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years?
What do you mean, clients in the audience? Why
Yeah.
not been delivering?
Yeah, clients. Not other speakers. I know there's other speakers out there that are keen to take everything that's good, but but your clients.
Do you know what? We don't. You can be sat in the audience. Look, I've said this time and time again. Actually, so I'll say it again on your show now. There's been nothing new in the world of customer service for the last 4 decades, right? Let's go back to the 80s, right? So think of when you were at school or college, university, reading the business texts of this world, business strategy, all of this lovely stuff, and you go to various lectures. There was never a customer service lecture, which was interesting. There was never a department, was there? There was never a topic of customer service, and yet it is crucial. It is vital. It's the backbone to every business. We can't just put everything out there and hope that people will come back. So it was really interesting. So there's always a gap in the market for service. But for the last 4 decades, and I've read so many customer service books, and I've seen so many speakers and trainers, Jonathan, and I'm not gonna. It's the same old, right? It's the same old. Every book, trainer, manual, speaker will tell you two things for your business to stand out in the marketplace, in your sector, in 2021 and beyond. There's only 2 things. The first, you must go the extra mile. Right. Go the extra mile. And the second thing is you must exceed expectations. Jonathan, you must exceed expectations. So from the stage, right? So businesses, we go the extra mile. We've been hearing the same stuff time and time again. Now, I challenge businesses, directors, owner managers, entrepreneurs to go back into your office, to go back into your business, your factory, your call center, literally hours after that conference, gather your team around and say, right, this is what we're going to do for 2021. Gather in, shut the door, gather in. We're going to go the extra mile. And literally everybody's like, right, okay, Geoff, what does that look like? And you go, well, we're going to exceed expectations. And it's the same old now. So look, I can poke fun of this for years, but it's the same. There's nothing new. You can't be inspired by the norm, right? Your competitors right now around the world are having a meeting, having a conference, they're talking about going an extra mile. Going the extra mile. The problem is, in 6 months' time, all of your competitors have moved an extra mile further forward, but nobody's made the leap. Nobody's made the leap. Go further. Go much, much further. So yeah, my topic is customer service and customer experience. Okay, that's my topic, but I branded it with the story that happened live on stage. And the birth of celebrity service happened at a conference that I did. I didn't sit in a darkened room thinking to myself, I need to come up with something different for the marketplace. It happened live. almost by default mistake, call it what you will. And I was on the stage and I said, do you treat all your customers the same? There's about 300 people in the room. Do you treat all of your customers the same, with the same high level of service? And one woman who sat at the front row, just off to my right. Now, what had happened, Jonathan? Half of the room nodded when I asked this question. Yeah, we treat everybody with the same high level of service. This one woman at the front, she didn't nod. She shouted. She shouted out. Now, this never happens at a conference, certainly not in the UK. And she went, absolutely, Geoff. And like the whole room just went, and I was like, oh. And her passion in her eyes and in her voice was absolutely, Geoff. She was really, and I went, oh. And I couldn't ignore her. And I went off tangent. And I said, oh, so I asked her, who are you? What sort of business have you got? And we got into this conversation, and the whole audience were listening to our conversation. It was very, very surreal. I'll cut to the chase. There's a longer story of this on YouTube. You'll see the full story on YouTube of what actually happened. But I'll cut to the chase for this show, Jonathan. I asked her this question. This question came out of nowhere, right? Just something that came into my head.
Yeah.
And she said, she was brilliant at what she did. Couldn't be any better. And I just went, but what happens if a celebrity were to come into your business tomorrow? What would the service look like? And she said, like who? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I'm making this up on the spot. I said, I don't know. I said, do you like men or women? Right? Because, we've got a choice.
Yeah.
And she said, I like men. I said, okay. And I'm thinking, and everybody else in the room's like, where's Geoff going with this? I didn't know. I'm making this up. And I said, okay. Picture the scene. An A-list movie. Think of an A-list hunk. An A-list Hollywood movie superstar. I said, have you thought of a name? And she said two names. She said, oh, George and Brad. Right? You know how sexy you are when you don't even need a surname. Okay, oh. I'll just say that. George and Brad. I said, okay. I said, picture the scene. George Clooney is in your area. He calls up your business. He wants to come and visit you. And we got into this conversation, okay? Cut to the chase here. I challenged her what she would do for George Clooney compared to Jonathan Creek, compared to Geoff Ramm, compared to anybody in the world, a normal person, a normal customer. She came up with 6 ideas in 30 seconds. 6 ideas. The audience were blown away. I was blown away. And she was stunned because to her, a few minutes before, she was brilliant at delivering service. And when I challenged her with this question, what happens if a celebrity were to walk into your business tomorrow? What would you say? What would you do? How would you react? What would be the difference? The difference is the gap. So we all think we're delivering a high level of service. But if a celebrity were to walk in, it goes to there. And that, Jonathan, and for everybody watching this today, that's the gap you don't realize exists. When you know how to fill it and, you create the gap your competitors can never touch you for.
Yeah.
And from that conference, Celebrity Service, the brand was born. I wrote and it's just taken over. I mean, I've delivered this in 44 countries to some of the greatest brands in the world and some small businesses and organizations and franchises and retail and online and, oh my word, attractions, aviation. People get it. Your frontline staff get it. People in the offices get it, and also internal celebrity service as well, how we can deliver a greater experience to our colleagues. And what I did, Jonathan, is as you know, I deliver real life stories. I'm a storyteller, very visual, very creative storyteller. So I collect stories from all over the world, all of my travels, holidays. You go for a walk on the beach, you see things, you hear things, you engage with people. And when those stories get me, okay, they make me laugh, they make me cry, they make me go, oh, when they hit me emotionally, those are the stories that I share. Now I build those into a keynote talk, into an interactive session for teams. And what audiences are hearing, Jonathan, and this isn't just you must treat your customers with and you must do this, and here's the 5 rules of. There's none of that stuff. This is real people delivering real experiences in real time that you and I can aspire to, learn from, but build into our business. And it's massive.
Yeah.
So you questioned 5 hours ago, because I tend to talk. Your question was, companies there, years, why have they not thought of this? We haven't been exposed to this. This is new. This is original. I'm the creator and author of Celebrity Service. So when I'm delivering on stage, and this is a speaker thing for me and you, okay? Often I'm following a speaker who's just been talking about Richard Branson,
yeah,
or Jeff Bezos, and I'm like, did you work with them? No, but the sort of rehashing, rekindling the stories that we've all heard. We've all heard.
Mm.
When I go on the stage, nobody has a clue what I'm going to say, because the stories that I tell are original.
They're yours.
Well, that's how it should be, in my personal opinion. So, and of course, when I work with clients, and this is the real strange thing, okay, because this is full circle, okay. When I work with clients, I get to know them, I get to see them, I get to see some of their celebrity service moments that we create in a session. And over the weeks and months and years later, they say to me, Geoff, oh, by the way, we did this, from the conference. Just thought, here's a photograph, here's a video, here's what we did. That then becomes content in my future talks.
Yeah.
So I can do a talk. I did one in Sydney about 18 months ago. And all of a sudden you say, and I met an organization there you are, give them a wave in the audience, and they created this. And all of a sudden you're in the room, you're on Geoff's slide deck.
Yeah.
And I share real life examples, results is crucial. And so that Celebrity Service was born from a conference that I did in the UK many, many, many years ago, maybe it's about 16, 17 years ago now. But I really sort of launched the brand itself around about 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just gone crazy. I'm I'm proud of it, but really proud of the results of what people get from it.
You should be proud of it. It's an incredible brand. Just watching some of your videos, I've watched them years ago. I've watched them for inspiration all the time. And you're not a guy who would sit here and say, I'm a video guy. But there's a few things you mentioned in your answer before about your talks, which is really key. Stories is one, but stories that trigger emotions are the second most important thing. And this translates into videos as well. So when I watch your videos, you really do have the ability to tell stories that trigger physical responses or instinctive responses from emotions. And I think that's a secret to a lot of things in life. There are people out there, probably 99% of people out there, who need to understand that marketing full stop is way more than product and price. And that may seem, Captain Obvious to a lot of people, but when I sit here and I look at posts on social media from companies who tell me they've got everything locked down, and they're saying, they're just hitting you with facts, I really do get cut up about where's the romance. And I think you need to be credited because of your performance on stage is full of it. And romance isn't always lovey-dovey, flowers. It's fun, it's happiness, it's shock, it's surprise, it's stimulating all those parts of the brain. Do you have a minimum requirement that a story has to trigger to make it into your repertoire, or is it purely based on the lesson that it can carry?
Oh, I hope the technology fails now, because I'm not sure where to go with this answer.
Was the question maybe the question wasn't clear enough?
No, it was clear, but I'm just going to stall for thinking time. Say the question again.
So what I'm wondering is, when you tell a story, are you that advanced in your storytelling understanding, you need your story to trigger a number of different emotions to get on stage? So almost you have to take people on a roller coaster. Maybe it's a 1 or 2 story loop, or is it purely based on the lesson?
I don't think there's an or. I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think all my stories have a point, and Okay. Oh, where do I go with this?
I suppose the point I'm trying to make is a lot of people tell stories purely focused on getting to the lesson. Where when you watch, if anyone's lucky enough to watch you on stage, you don't
Yeah.
rush to the lesson at all. In fact, you use a lot of silence and a lot of pauses. Can you talk
Yeah.
about
I
that
mean,
and the art of that on-stage presentation in your storytelling?
it's really interesting. I've never ever had people have. I did a talk in Dallas for 2,000 professional speakers. Worst audience in the world. Everybody wants you to do well. No, they don't. No, they don't. They'll be over the moon if you failed. Um, and people came up to me afterwards and said, "I loved your storytelling. Who's your coach?" And I said, "I don't have a coach." "Oh, no, who's your coach?" I went, I don't have. I've never had a coach. You've never had a coach? You must have a coach to tell stories like that. And people were genuinely shocked at my storytelling. And I was like, it's just something that I do. And I had this conversation in the lift. It was in the lift, right? It was a conference center in Dallas 2 years ago, and there was about 15 speakers, and people sort of had the lanyard. I've just been on the main stage, and these are all speakers. And I said, look, I don't have a. I said, but if you ask a question about storytelling, I said, I'm in it. And somebody stopped the lift, right? Somebody stopped the lift, so the doors were kind of like half. What does he mean he's in it? And I had this mini audience. It was a bit sweaty, actually. Mini audience in this lift. And I said, I'm in the story. And they said, what do you mean you're in the story? I said, look, everybody talks about storytelling. You must tell stories, like you say, to get the passion across, to get the interest, to get the romance. You must tell stories to get about your brand. You must tell stories on stage, and that will connect with your audience. Your audience will love you, blah, 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 blah. And I said, look, everybody's told that. And I said, some people do. Most people don't. But some people do tell stories. I said, if there's some that tell them, 99% of them aren't even in the story. And they said, what do you mean? I said, look, I play every part. I play every part of a story. And they said, what do you mean? I said, so I tell the story of Grace, my daughter, and the Hamleys experience that I did there.
Yep.
I think you've seen Elliot's Magic Ticket, one of my big stories on YouTube. If anybody wants to go to it, have a look for Elliot's Magic Ticket. It was the last conference I did before lockdown. Lockdown 1, as Netflix will call it.
Lockdown 1, yes.
Netflix 1. So Elliot's Magic Ticket. So I said, I play the part of myself, Elliot, the lady at the ticket counter, and I play the part from beginning of the day to the end of the day, but then I go further because the story developed months and months later, so I bring it back. And I said, so when I'm playing Elliot, and this is going to make no sense to anybody until they see the video.
No, they've got to go watch the video.
I'm handing the ticket to me because Elliot's smaller than me, and I'm collecting it from Elliot, and then I'm looking at the ticket. And when I'm looking at it, I'm holding fresh air, Jonathan, okay? But 1,000 people in the audience are going, what was written on the ticket? What was it? So then I'll say, and she wrote 3 words. And that 3 words caused an experience we've seen before. And I turn around, but I'm facing the screen, the giant screen behind me. And in my other hand, nobody sees it. So I go, and this is what she took. And I click the photograph of the ticket that I took back in the story, back in when it happened. Everybody now has been Elliot, has saw his excitement as he's passed the ticket. What's this, Elliot? What's this? And I'm like, facial expressions. I'm like, I'm confused. And I'm going, she wrote 3 words. And when I reveal it on the screen, the whole audience is like, oh, that's lovely. Oh, that's wonderful. And then, so I get a reaction from the audience of a photograph of somebody who's done something lovely. And when I tell this to speakers, when I tell this story as well, I'm never the hero in my story. I'm never the hero. Never. I'm never the hero. The hero was the lady in the ticket office. That's the hero. I am telling the story through my eyes as a father, as a businessman, you know, and I tell the story, and then the story continues, and it's up and down, and it's. But I also find the funny. I try to find the funny. So every story that I do has a funny one-liner that I'll ad lib in, that I'll create, and of course you've also got, and this comes with experience. You've also got the audience. The audience can play a massive role in a story because you might be expecting a certain reaction. Maybe it's a gasp, maybe some laughter, maybe it's a ripple of applause. You don't know what's going to happen, but you can only base it on experience of when you've done this story in previous conferences around the world. You can only gather that. But you can also play on that, and that comes through with experience of being a professional speaker. The amount of conferences that I do, you can get a reaction that you mightn't have had before, and again, you've got to be quick enough to feed on that. Okay. And that, of course, the story could develop a little bit further. You could bring that back 20 minutes later and, you know, pick out somebody in the audience who might have shouted something out. That is about experience, but also having the confidence to adapt and change to the event, to that certain moment in time, whether it be virtual, whether it be on stage. And that's what organizers love. That's what clients love. It's like something will happen, but the speaker is unfazed, actually can make it even greater. So I'm never the hero. It's always the other person. I'm in the story. I tell the story from every angle. I find the funny in everything because life is too short.
And you're British.
Sorry?
And you're British.
But it can. Well, it used to work in Europe, but it doesn't now. But, you know.
Politics got in the way. I think, Geoff, there's one thing that I've learned from you, and I try and bring it into everything, into my talks. When we first met, I was only just starting, and one thing that I watched a couple of your talks because I really am inspired by you. I think you're a great example of you know, someone who does it different and does it their own way, and I think that's really needed in the world. Is that I love the fact that within probably the first 90 seconds of your talk, maybe even quicker, you make the audience nervous. You get that nervous giggle out of them.
I've not heard.
I don't want to give it away, but you can watch Geoff's talk on YouTube. But within the first 30 to 90 seconds, you are picking someone out in the crowd who's sitting in a seat, and all eyes are on them. For 7 minutes, I've got you, and everyone else is like, "Oh my God, who's he coming for next?" And you can just see, and I think that's brilliant in the way that it then makes people pay attention in case they are next. Was that a purposeful move, or was that a way of crossing what they call in video the fourth dimension to get yourself from these big stages closer to the audience?
I know the bit you're talking about. Funnily enough, and this is the weird thing, Jonathan, I've not done that intro unless it's requested by the client. I've not done that particular intro for about 2 years, would you believe? I think Dallas might have been the last time I did it. So it was the birth of Celebrity Service, how it came about. And what I do on a stage in Sydney, Brisbane, Los Angeles, wherever, what I do on a stage is replicate that the birth of Celebrity Service, like I told you, 300 people in the room, lady at the front, just off to my right. And when I'm doing this, so I'm replicating, so I'm going back in time, but the audience that I'm currently speaking for feel as if they were part of that bit of history. It's very strange. I don't know why or how I do it. I just do it. But as it to the lady on the right, and I'll look at somebody. Now, sometimes there's nobody there because everybody's sat at the back. So I have to move and shift position. Sometimes there's no lady there. So I need to think, oh, who do I need to look at? You know, where's the next nearest lady? So you've got to, it's all experience.
Makes it a bit tough when you're at the Harley Davidson convention.
Oh, yeah. So, but I'll look in that. Sometimes I'm at a conference venue where you can't see the front row because it's so dark and all the lights are on the stage. So you're just pointing to an empty space, thinking, hoping, praying that there's pretty much going to be somebody there. Okay. So, but I'll look in that general direction. Sometimes if it's close enough, I can have eye contact. Now, straight away, that person might be feeling uneasy. That's the last thing that I want, believe it or not, because I've been in audiences. I'm thinking, if you ask me to get up on stage, I will punch you. I will hate every minute of it. Okay, because there's lots of people that do not want to be on that stage. Quite happy to be having a coffee, having a donut. I'll sit at the back. That's good. I'll get some stuff and I'll go home with a tote bag. But there's people that do not want to get on that stage, and I would never ever do that. I would never put anybody in that position at all, ever. Never done it. But I'll say, your lucky seat for the next 7 minutes. But all I'll do is refer to this person. Just refer. In the story, I'm telling the story to everybody, but I'm referring to this person. And later on, I'll hand a copy of my book as a sort of thanks very much for playing a part of today. But no, conscious effort to make people uneasy. It's really interesting. I'll ask a question. My first question. It's how I pretty much open the majority of my conferences. 99% of conferences I will open with. So there's music playing or there's lights or whatever. Come onto the stage, and first thing I'll say is, on the scale of 1 to 10, and I'll boom it out on the scale of, depending on the size of the room, on the scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is abysmal, 10 is incredible. What number would you give yourself right now for the levels of service you're giving every single client, customer, member, passenger, whatever sort of conference it is? I'll change it. What number would you give yourself right now? And be honest. Be honest. Don't shout out. I know you won't shout out. Don't shout out. Just give yourself a number. And I'll give them 5, 4, 3, 2. Has everybody got a number? Yeah. Okay. So this is how I would normally do it. And again, try and see the funny in everything. And you can do this well in the UK. I'll say, right, there are no 1s, 2s, or 3s in the room today. Is that correct? And everybody's like, yeah, that's correct. We're not in that bottom. And I say, that's good. That's good. Because if you were a 1, 2, 3, that's an instant P45. And of course, people will laugh. And I say, no, seriously, you just have to go. I said, there's a competitor down your road. And if I'm working with a big brand, I'll name their competitor. I said, they will love you. They will love you. Just go. Just go. I say, right, let's have a show of hands. 4 and 5s. Where are you? 4 and 5s. There'll be half a dozen people in 1,000 people. 4 and 5. I said, great. You're average. That's good. We know where to go now. 6s and 7s. Where are you? 6s and 7s. Where are you? Where are you? The vast majority of people are 7s and 8s. Because I then go to 8s, to 9s, and then to 10. There's always maybe 1 or 2 10s in a room of 1,000 who are delivering incredible service. The vast majority are around the 7 and 8 mark. Okay? And I'll say to people in 44 countries, traveling all over the world, delivering celebrity service to many incredible brands, congratulations, everybody. You are the global average. Now, people start clapping at this. Oh, wow. And I say, what are you clapping? Why are you clapping at average? The global average. I said, don't get me wrong, 8 is a good number. But what's it going to take you to go from an 8 to a 9? What's it going to take? I said, I'll tell you what's going to take. The next 44 minutes. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. I'm going to show you how everybody here can up their game just like that, with the philosophy, with the stories, with the techniques, with the ideas. So when you leave this conference, after this 45-minute keynote, this 3-hour interactive session, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And the structure of my keynotes towards the end, so the philosophy, the Elliot's Magic Ticket stories, big A-game stories that I bring in. Depending on the time, I'll bring some interaction into it, and I can do this for any size audience. But towards the end, Jonathan, is the results. Now, we're not going to screen share today, but when I say about stories, people, things that happen in our everyday lives that get me, that I love, that I hate, that make me cry and make me burst out laughing, I capture them. I capture them as photographs. I capture them as videos. I capture them knowing, and straight away I go, that's potential content for the future. That's potential content. I could use that. I have hundreds on this Mac now. I have hundreds of stories that I can bring in. So a client says, Geoff, we're a retail organization. Geoff, we are finance. We've got an hour session. What do you suggest? And have you ever seen the Minority Report?
Yes.
With Tom Cruise, and he's got that blank. He's like, "That's me. That's my key." I don't have a keynote. People say, "Oh, well, you deliver your." What do you mean the keynote? It's. I have a keynote time, or a given time. What I do is I choose the very best stories for that audience.
Mm.
So as a finance organization, I could still use Elliot's Magic Ticket as an example for what an incredible experience looks like and how it doesn't cost anything, and what we say and what we write on an invoice, what we write on the card at Christmas, whatever it may be, means the world. Okay, so I can always use that, even though it's about a train station. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a train journey.
I remember.
Still use it.
I remember you showing me your. I think we were sitting at a cafe somewhere, and you had your Mac, and you showed me your folder.
Yeah.
You showed me your folder with all your keynotes in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was just building mine at the time. I had one, and it was okay. And I was like, no, I need to. That's a great base. That's sort of I've got the order. Now I need to be able to change it. And I remember asking you, what do you do? Have you got one? What do you do? And you showed me your folder. And the first thing that went through my mind was, whoa, look how much money there is in all those keynotes. And the second thing was, this is genius. You keep the structure, but then you can tailor it. And that's the difference between, you say you get on stage after people who are talking about Richard Branson and all the stories that everyone sees on Instagram in photos and quotes to death. And I always seem to be, the talks that I'm doing at the moment, I'm always seem to be the closing keynote. And I'm coming on stage after social media gurus who are sitting there saying, you've got to keep your videos to 1 minute and 17 seconds long. And I go, I'm like, really? What? Why? Oh, because humans have only got the attention spans of goldfish. We're evolving into goldfish. And I'm like, really? You ever sat outside the movies in that hallway with the squishy carpet and the smell of popcorn? Well, I did. I went out there and I sat there for 1 minute and 17 seconds and no one came out. So how do people like James Cameron do it, that they can make billions of dollars out of a movie that runs for 3 hours and no one leaves?
If it's good enough. How is it we can watch? We spoke before, we're big Star Wars fans.
Who would have guessed?
The Mandalorian, the series on Disney Plus. It's 40 minutes long now. I know it's a season, but it's 40 minutes. How come? It might not even be for Star Wars fans, but how come it can grab you so much, and then a movie that's cost billions is just it's the storytelling. And it's how we build it up. It's how we create. It's how we connect with. But I've come back to, you said there about all the things that I had, keynotes and all the rest of it. You've also got to come back to results, Jonathan. So you follow social media gurus, okay? You must have goldfish and all that. And you're sat there going, that's not my experience. Now, the audience wants... They don't want to hear, they don't want to hear what they've already heard. Because we could have just watched that TED talk online. We could have just read that book again. They want new, they want fresh, and they want you. Now you have something to say. And if it's a case of going the opposite way, which I've always talked about, going the opposite way to the competition, it is simple. It is simple to stand out in the marketplace, ridiculously so. But you can come on there and say, we've heard some brilliant people, 1 minute, goldfish. I'm going to tell you a little story about, name an animal with great attention span, who can memorize everything. In my experience, and here's some of the clients I've worked with. This video here has been viewed X amount of times. Do you know why? Not the time. It's not the quality of the camera. It's not the voiceover. It's X, Y, Z. And all of a sudden, because people need to make up their own minds from a conference. If there's multiple speakers there's often times I've got on there and completely flipped it on its head from the previous speaker. It's not being controversial. It's just that this is my belief. My belief is based on results that clients have received from this. and you have to make up your own mind. You have to. An audience member. So, I never thought about that. Maybe I would prefer to do that than what we were told this morning. But to get across your ideas to an audience, there's also got to be results. They've got to see it in the flesh. It just can't be nice, fluffy stories. There has got to be a point to this. So I've mentioned it a few times, Elliot's Magic Ticket. People are now going, oh, for God's sake, I'm going to have to watch it now. But it's about 8 or 9 minutes long on YouTube. But it's the latest one I've got. And the reason I'm saying it's the latest one I've got, and you'll see Elliot, by the way, in the little
I've seen him
photograph. Yeah.
with the train, with the plants in it.
Yeah.
The train.
So he's got, but there's a flip to the story. One is I go back to the lady. I found out who she was, and I awarded her a Celebrity Service Star Award. I've only ever given 6 out in my lifetime. She received 1, and so I took it. And the train company took a photograph of her and sent it to me and just to let you know, because when I delivered it, she was off ill. She was off ill quite seriously for quite some time, and I was like, oh no. But she got back to work. She's fine. They took a photograph and they sent it to me. I then used that photograph towards the end of the story. And I say, right, what did I do with this photograph? You know, the Elliot's Magic Ticket one. What did I do? So again, I go back to the audience. This isn't just I'm not talking at you. I'm talking with you and alongside you. So I tell the story. People are laughing. We have a lot of fun with this. People can see real life examples of superstars in the making. I say, what did I do with this photograph? I said, go on, you can't be wrong. Just shout out. Social media. I said, where? And then somebody will shout, Facebook. I said, yeah, it was my second biggest Facebook posting of that year. It was only beaten by my birthday, you know, in terms of engagement. And everybody's birthday goes crazy. I said, so it's technically my biggest. I said, anything else? Twitter, yeah, tweeted it out. This is what we got. LinkedIn, yeah, put on LinkedIn. I said, it's content in my talks. It's in the new book. It's this. It's that. This is what we did. And I said, when I tweeted out, and I copy in the train company as well, and I said, over time, since this happened, it's been liked, shared, retweeted, and viewed 2.2 million times.
Yeah, imagine.
So from a story, from a person seeing an opportunity to deliver an incredible experience to Elliot, didn't know who I was. I then share this story around the world. Everybody's heard it now. And it's on YouTube, and it's on this, and it's on that, and every comments, oh, Elliot's Magic, you know, it's. And I said, who's talking about you? Which organization, which speaker on a stage? So, if nobody's talking about you, you're not delivering an experience worthy of being talked about. And I said, now is the time. Now is the time we create an experience, because we all have cameras, we all have phones, we all have a mouth. And we all have this thing called the keypad, and we can share the great, the good, the amazing, the stunning with all of our networks in seconds. And I said, if you're not delivering an experience worthy of being talked about, you'll never be talked about. You'll be in the silent minority of, well, we're delivering 7 out of 10, Geoff. Yeah, but there's always a gap. And it's celebrity service. And it's, for me, just go back to what you said there about the clients and, you know, following the people. It's got to be your material, mate, and it's got to be results driven. In the meantime, let's give you a philosophy you've never heard before. Let's give you stories you haven't got a clue what I'm going to say next. Let's have some fun and laughter along the way. Let's get some engagement. And I've said it since day one, and I'll say it to you now on this show. I always want my clients, my audiences, everybody in that room, and even the AV team, because that's the most important people to impress. If the AV team can come up to you, pass you your memory stick and go, well, that's the best thing we've heard in so long, you've cracked it. Okay,
they've heard it all.
They've seen it all. Oh, you know, they've been playing on Tetris for 500 years. They're bored out their minds with some presentations. But I always want my audiences to go away with a certain few things. Smile on their face, ideas in their pocket, and a list of things tomorrow that will make the biggest difference. And it never costs money. But that smile on the face, you know, ideas in your pocket, massive, massive. That's what I get the buzz out of, I suppose. You know, there's the buzz There's the buzz of getting on a plane and, speaking in Melbourne. There's the buzz of being on the stage. There's a buzz of when I was going to say check. People might not know what a check is, but it's when the payment hits your bank. That's a little buzz, Jonathan. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
The greatest buzz ever is 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, however long down the line, you get an email or a phone call or a post or your notification comes up and just says, we saw this speaker, we had this speaker, they come in, January of last year, or it was 2000, and we've done this. As a result, we've done this, which led to that, which has created this. Thank you. And you read it and you go, oh my God. And it's people taking action from the stories, and people taking action and making it work in their business. That's what we're there for. You and I are there to go and deliver a message that will hopefully inspire enough for them to make an action, for them to have success in their business. We just don't know when it's going to happen. Could be tomorrow.
It's amazing.
Could be years down the line. But when it happens, it's like, oh, it's gold dust.
For anyone who's watching this, go back and replay that last 5 minutes, because you've essentially laid out the ultimate framework for a good keynote. Exactly what the job of a speaker is. Do it in your own way. There's too many people out there copying. I mean, I'm in the space around viral videos, and I study viral videos, and I bang my head against the wall all the time when someone says, our competitor made a viral video, so we're going to copy it. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's not. You got to have your own viral DNA. You got to do your own. You got to do you. And it's really frustrating when people copy. And I think what you've just laid out right now, you've laid out the golden rules to a great keynote. Your book, your original book, Celebrity Service, lays it out. So if people haven't got that book, go and get it.
Hang on.
And wait,
Timmy!
there's number one. So that's the book to get on. You'll get that on Amazon. I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you just message Geoff. If you can't find it, just message him on the socials, and the team will get back to you. But exciting news, and we're sort of tagging each other here with book release news, but this is your moment. Here we go. Book number 2, Celebrity Service Superstars. And I must admit, I had a real good chuckle the other morning. I was down at my parents' beach house. I just helped them move home. I was tired. And I turned on my phone and I saw a video of you almost... What do you know what an esche is?
I don't.
Oh, an
Is
esche...
that like essay, but you've got a lisp?
It's like an Australian... It's an Australian bogan, but apparently it's like a UK hoodie, big bomber hoodie, baseball cap.
All right, yeah.
Chains. And so there was a guy on my Facebook feed dressed like that, and he was wandering through his house. And he came to a box in his garage, and I noticed that he was really careful with the scissors. I was like, man, just cut that box. Just cut it. And then there was the big surprise, and I laughed out loud and woke my wife up. So you're in trouble with my wife. But I thought it was a very good video. Cost you nothing. Filmed on your phone. Engaging. Got the message across. Yeah, it just is proof that people don't need all the gear. I mean, probably one of the greatest lessons of not needing all the gear is what we went through before this show. I've got a studio set up. I've got a camera. I've got a live streaming platform into a proper microphone. And guess what? It didn't work. So now, because what I teach is if you've got a phone in your pocket, that's all you need. I'm going to live by it now. You've taught me that lesson. So talk me through the book. Number 2.
Yeah, sure.
How's it going? How long's it been out there for?
Okay, so it's going really well. I am proud. I'm chuffed to bits. Well, this goes back to last year, doesn't it? So last March, the whole world just came tumbling down, literally overnight. All of my events were postponed. Literally, I was all over the place. January, February. It was all in the UK as well, so it was nice. It was nice and easy. I could just get in the car, and it just came tumbling down March, which it did for everybody, every industry, everything.
I lost 16 events in 48 hours.
Yeah, and it was just like bang.
Yeah.
And people say, what we'll do, Geoff, we'll postpone it till September. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, what year?
Yeah.
So anyhow, so that was March. April again, it was just everybody's just in the doldrums. What's happening? And it was really scary stuff. But in April, you could see everything happening. It was so negative, and everything was rising deaths. And it was like, oh my word, and kids and schools were closed. Anyhow, and I thought, right, I need to do something positive here. And I put a post out. You might remember this. It went on Facebook. It went a bit crazy actually. And I just put on there. I said, and I'm not one of these motivational shares quotes things every day, but I just put this thing and I said, when we look back, be proud of what you did in the time that you had. And I don't know when we'll look back. I haven't got a clue. I just said, just be proud of what you did because there was a time when there was a couple of UK companies were a little bit naughty with things that they were doing. And I thought, you're going to look back and you're not going to be proud of this moment at all. And there's a lot of things happening. Be proud of what you did in the time that you had when you look back. And I decided to write the follow-up to Celebrity Service. So this was the first book. This is the first book, Celebrity Service. Really proud of it. Chuffed to bits. Look, tons of stories. And it goes through the philosophy of celebrity service and on all the stories that make it up. But I had a lot more content, Jonathan. I had more and more content since that was come out. But I wanted to do something a bit different. So I thought, right, so I contacted my publishers. They said, perfect, brilliant. So I spent all of my lockdown hours. So Haley, my wife, was homeschooling the kids upstairs. And I literally sat in my home office and wrote the book. And I did almost like a page or a chapter per day. I tried to get certain things going. So it was the follow-up to Celebrity Service. And it's called Celebrity Service Superstars, which I'm not sure so Superstars. And the superstars I interviewed 15 people, clients, people who I've known over the years that I've worked with and known about. Some a lot, some even just even one conference, but there's something about them that I loved about them. And I thought I would love to interview you. So I went back in was it May time? And I emailed my clients, says, look, how you doing? How's things? You know where I am, if I can help you. And, that time in May, June, we're starting to do a lot of virtual sessions. And I said, look, I've decided to write my second book, Celebrity Service. Would you like to be in it? And one of the greatest things I ever did last year was ask my clients, would they like to be in the new book? Because the emails and the voicemails that I was receiving were like, you're joking? Really? You've just made my week. You've made my month, when everybody's in furlough and everybody's in a horrible, horrible state. Really? I said, yeah. So what we did is we got online, just like you and I pressed record. I asked various questions, and then I transcribed it into interviews. So there's 15 interviews from people from finance, associations, hospitality, you name it, every sector that I've pretty much worked in. So those were interviews. So there's superstar interviews, but honestly, so there's superstar interviews, but there's also a host of new stories. It's full color as well inside, so all of the photographs really pop from the page. Hang on, let me have a little flick through. What can I show you?
Color.
So
Full color.
Look. I mean, look.
R2D2. There he is.
There we go. So, but there's loads of stories. Look, I mean, it just brings it to life. But I'm delighted. I'm chuffed to bits. Now, what you said about the video. So, Superstars launched. It's been out a week. I think there's about 40 5-star reviews already on Amazon, which is pretty spectacular. I wasn't expecting this. I launched it. I was gonna have a launch, Jonathan. I was gonna have a launch at a local business. Canapes, bit of bubbly, and it's just not happened. So I put a post out saying the launch of my book is kind of this post. It's kind of it. So I did a lot of pre-orders. Clients were buying, so those I signed them all, sent them. Just even little things inside, like you could sign the book, but I had these thanks cards put together, so I could write a real personalized message on the back to the person who was buying them, or even for their team or their colleagues. And of course, it's got to be different. Everything we do, or everything I do, is different. It comes in an envelope, but it's a little bit different.
Yes, I noticed that there was. I noticed there was sparkly red envelopes coming to Australia.
those were the very first pre-orders. Red envelopes have gone through the roof in the UK. It's a big lockdown thing. Toilet rolls and red envelopes is what I've been buying. So yeah, so it's gone really well on Amazon. You can, for anybody in Australia and New Zealand, you can come to me direct and I'll sign a copy for you. But the shipping costs are just crazy silly. I'll do it for you with all the love in the world. But seriously, if you go on Amazon or even the Book Depository website, get it from there. I think Book Depository is free postage international. Don't know how they do it. No idea. So it's gone really well. The video that you mentioned was my unboxing video. That's on YouTube as well. Again, every speaker who has a book does an unboxing video, right? And it's so so they've got and it's a real big thing.
I've probably made that mistake with mine, to be honest, because the first book, I sat the family around.
It's great.
And they opened it. It was more for me. I haven't put it out there yet. But I was doing it more for me, I think, the unboxing. But I agree with you with the launch. Also said my book was supposed to launch today, but with COVID and everything, it came out early, and so you know what? I might do a launch live stream tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, please do that as well, and I'll join in, please. It's a massive thing, but all I've seen for years is unboxing videos, and it's like, shh. Oh wow, oh really proud, and it's like, oh, and there was and it's like, oh, I've seen it to death. The first few were great, but again, it's like you can't keep regurgitating the same stuff. So I wanted to do something funny. Anybody, I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end of the video, but just watch the video. But I was very careful with those scissors. That could have been the viral video.
No, your emergency departments are full. I've got the book up on the screen now. It looks fantastic.
Cheers. Thank you.
For anyone that's in business and wants to improve, probably one of the most important parts of business. You don't get sales unless you can interact. Oh yeah, look at this. You're matchy. I'm going to hide mine and let you show the real thing. Customer service would have to be one of the most important. Yeah, everyone wants to automate their world now, but at the end of the day, you can't replace human to human. And that's the pocket where you sit, Geoff, and you probably sit at the top of the pinnacle, I reckon, there. So congratulations to you and all that you do. Thank you so much for your time today and being incredibly patient with the technical issues. Every episode from now on, I'm going to dedicate to Geoff Ramm. And if anyone says, why are you using your MacBook Pro camera? I'll say because Geoff Ramm drove home the point. He's got a story to share about how overcomplicated technology nearly wrecked an experience. And I'm glad you didn't let it get in the way or throw us off. It was a great chat. You're so generous with your time. You really inspire me, and I'm sure there's people who are going to be watching this episode across all the socials that are going to be inspired too. So hopefully I'm going to tell them, get behind Geoff, follow him on social media, subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's been more than generous with us here today, so I think that's the least you can do. And I suppose there's only one last thing to say, Geoff, and that is, may the force be with you, my friend.
This is the way, my friend. Jonathan, it's been a pleasure. I'm always here if you want to chat. I want to wish you all a success with your book as well, because I love the cover. I've not bought it yet because Amazon have been a bit strange. But yeah, I love your. It's just been great. It's great to connect. We did this in Melbourne a few years ago, didn't we? Yeah. And this is the beauty of social media. We can have a pop of tech, but this is the beauty of social media. We can keep in contact where we couldn't have done before.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
To be able to get some stories, some insights, you know where I am, my friend. Just pick up the phone.
Yeah, and for any young speaker, not necessarily young but new to speaking, what's the number one tip that you leave them with?
Original content. Have your own stories, have your own results, have your own philosophies, ways. Not everybody will agree with it, but have your own. Don't regurgitate anybody else's stuff. So you wanted one, so I'm going to give you one extra thing before I go.
Oh, bonus.
I have the three O's.
That's celebrity service. We're going that extra mile.
I just can't shut up. It's a nightmare. I've said this for quite some time. I have the three O's of how do you differentiate yourself as a speaker in the marketplace? Because Jonathan, you're not a celebrity. It'd be nice if you were, but Geoff Ramm, you're not a celebrity. And it's great if you're a celebrity. You can just go into the marketplace. A bureau will have you on the front page, and oh yeah, well, you're the astronaut. I'm like, yeah. So we're not celebrities, but we have great business content, and I want to say this to the vast majority of speakers who aren't in that bracket, but this is for everybody. There's the three O's of really standing out in this marketplace, and I've always believed you need to outmarket. So outmarket somebody else. That greater trailer video, that greater video that you've got out there, the book, the packaging that it comes in, just everything's marketing. Your YouTube channel, how does that look to somebody? Everything is marketing, okay? So you need outmarket, you need to outdeliver, and that comes back to original content. Outdeliver somebody, because the person before you and the speaker after you, you can need to outdeliver. I treat every conference like a competition. I want to be the one that people remember. I want to be the one that people get the most from. Not always possible. Everybody's different, but that's inbred in my thinking.
It's game day.
So you need to outmarket, outdeliver, but also outserve. And this comes back to celebrity service. I need to outserve every other speaker in the world. So when somebody contacts me, I need to get back to you as soon as possible. When you ask for information, I need to give you the best information as soon as possible. Speed is king. Okay, there's so many things, but I need to outserve. When I arrive at a conference venue, what am I going to give? What am I going to say? What am I going to do to the AV team, to the client? What am I going to give extra? What can I do? It's all about service. It's all about that experience. You are not there to speak. You are there to deliver a package before, during, and afterwards. Those are the three O's. Be original and all that type of lovely stuff. I hope that helps, Jonathan. I hope it helps.
Geoff, incredible. Thank you again for your time. There's so many lessons in there. I love editing this down and cutting it into smaller bits, because I was going to relive it all and learn it and be better for it. I think that's the key. Certainly, you can claim top spot for 2021, like the old Top Gear. I'll slide your magnet to the top of the leaderboard.
Speaker of the year, best speaker of the year, January.
Mr. January, we'll call you.
Oh God! All right, cut, edit, go, bye.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. That was Geoff Ramm. I'm Jonathan Creek, and we'll be back in about a week with another guest on the #Keynote Speaker Show. Thank you, Geoff.
Take care, my friend.